Well, welcome back, and I am really honored to have in the studio with us today Jacob and Stephen Lapp. These are brothers from the Amish community, and they head up a ministry called the Light of Hope Ministries, and they're traveling in their motorhomes around the country, and they're in Medford right now, and I want to find out what they're doing here. So, gentlemen, nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Nice to see you.
We have Jacob here and Stephen there.
The other way around.
That's why I say we have Stephen here and Jacob there. Nice to have you. And you're living in your motorhomes.
Yes. Yeah.
And with your families, there's three of you, three families moving around, and you're in Medford, and you're going to Portland, and then you're working your way back, right? Well, what is the Light of Hope Ministries? Tell me, guys.
Light of Hope Ministries was started in 2006. Before that, even we were meeting with people, praying with people, seeing miracles happen, but especially emotional healing. A lot of hurting people, and they were coming for help. They were coming for prayer, for advice, and things like that. And so in 2006, we went full-time and working with people, find people to be very interesting to work with.
Wow. And how rewarding is that?
That's very rewarding. It can be a challenge because people can really kind of get irritated if you get close to the truth and close to pain. But once they break through that, it's very rewarding.
All right, so how do you get them to forgive? Now, let me say this in a little bit of a preference. The Amish are known with a rich history of forgiveness. You guys have seen national tragedy in your communities. I'm thinking of the school shooting. And you say your wife went to that school?
Yeah, my wife went to, I think, first two grades of her life in Nickel Mine School.
Nickel Mine School, and that's where that incredible shooting took place. And how many were killed?
There was 10 girls were shot, 5 of them were killed, and 5 survived.
And somehow you were able to forgive. How do you do that, and how would somebody do that that's had trauma in their life? What's the process you lead them through?
Well, it helps a lot when you're taught from a little boy or a little girl that forgiveness is the way to go. You don't hold on to stuff, you let God deal with things. And so when you're able to take this and give it to God, then you don't have to carry it yourself. And so that makes it a whole lot easier, and let God deal with it.
So how do you lead somebody through that? What's the process you guys do?
First of all, most of the time what happens is people need to understand the benefits of forgiveness, because everybody's thinking about, well, if I forgive, what am I going to lose? Like, I don't have anything to hold on to. But when they see the benefits of letting go, when they see the benefit of just, I don't have to hold this anymore, I don't have to hold it inside, everything can loosen up, you can return to peace. A lot of people don't have peace in their life, and it's because they're holding on to things. When you show them that, and you teach them the benefits of forgiveness, and then you teach them how to just take it to the cross and pray and say, Lord, I bring this to you. I can't hold it anymore. I can't carry it anymore. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to let you deal with it.
Seems so simple, but you use the word miracles. You have seen miracles. How would you describe a miracle?
Well, one example is there was this person that had broken bones, and he was in the hospital. They'd taken x-rays and everything. We went in and prayed for him, and then they went to put a pin in his leg and put him in traction, and they came back and said, well, that leg's not broken after all. It's that type of miracles. We've seen them, and it's amazing when God does that.
Wow. I asked you before we went on the air, is the Amish community growing? And you both said yes. And what is the attraction?
Well, for the main part is the Amish are largely able to keep their own people and large families, so automatically it grows in that way. It does not grow very much at all by people coming actually into the Amish, because it's it's so restrictive. There's no electricity, there's no TV, no radio, and things like that.
But here you are on TV and radio today.
We are. Yeah, we are not normal.
Okay, so well, I was going to ask you that question. Are you brothers kind of outside the norm?
We are.
Are you castigated for that?
Yes. But the Amish community is changing, slowly changing. Little by little technology comes in. But the first people that are like on the cutting edge are usually
the pioneers.
Separated. Yeah, they have to go through some things to bring change because, and largely it's for protection. You know, they want to protect their own people. They want to keep things from exploiting or from bringing change that will harm. And so the person that sees the benefit of a change and starts to reach out there and bring change is often shot at, not literally, but you know.
Yeah. So what is the structure that would bring you under scrutiny for stepping outside the circle, so to speak?
What is the structure?
Yeah, I mean, do you have like a priest or a headmaster that you report to? Or?
There's bishops.
Bishops,
and
okay.
bishops are kind of the head of the whole thing, and then and the bishops of the different communities will get together twice a year and they'll discuss things and. You know, and
are you talking physical structure or?
Yeah, well, I just didn't know that.
Spiritual structure.
Well, spiritual. I mean, at the most part, isn't your community trying to protect the spiritual integrity and the innocence of the community? I mean, it's a purity thing. Yeah. And forgive me if I'm not saying it right, but you're trying to protect a civility, a purity, an innocence, and yet a spiritual integrity.
Yes.
And anything on the outside would be somewhat an influence on that.
Yeah,
right.
And but then there's fear mixed in with that.
Yeah.
And that causes a bit of instability.
Because it's unusual. I mean, aren't you guys kind of like evangelists then?
Yeah, you could say that.
Because do Amish normally don't have evangelists, do they?
Right.
Where you go outside?
In 1525, there was a movement. The Protestants stepped away from the Catholics, and then the Anabaptist movement came out of the Protestant movement, where there was 3 men that were being mentored by Ulrich Zwingli in Switzerland. He was one of the reformers, and they were questioning the issue on infant baptism versus being baptized on confession of faith.
Right.
And he agreed with them, but politically he couldn't go there because he was politically head of the whole state. And so he acknowledged truth, but he couldn't go there, so they stepped out from that system. And in time they started getting persecuted. But about 100 years later, 120 years later, they were offered a compromise. This was the Mennonites. The Mennonites were offered a compromise to become the silent in the land in exchange for no persecution, in exchange for financial security and social acceptance. So if they would work the land and they would stay to themselves and become silent, they wouldn't evangelize, go into all the world and preach the gospel, they would be allowed to have their security. But what we see is that was the enemy's way of offering a compromise instead of the people pushing through all the way to what God wants.
Instead of where it says, "Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel,"
they
became a secluded, protect our own people type of thing.
They received a compromise, but the benefits of that compromise was they were no longer divided from their families and things like that. So they were standing for truth even in the face of losing their farms and their families. And so this thing turned inward, and they literally signed documents.
Oh, okay.
So now you gave a spirit a right to control the whole people group.
And you guys are trying to move it back out again.
And we're seeing this. We're seeing where it was wrong. We're seeing where God wants to bring it on track, which is the biggest battle that we have, is to bring the thing to divine order.
I told you this was going to be a fast show. Are you ministering tonight or locally? What are you doing here?
Yeah, we're at the Jerusalem Center, 6 Mace Road.
Okay.
In Medford.
Is that tonight?
Tonight at, is it 7 or 7:30? 7, I believe.
Okay. Okay.
And then tomorrow is a children's thing from 11 to 2.
Okay.
And then tomorrow night at 7.
Okay.
And then Sunday morning at 10.
Okay.
And, or is it 11?
Yeah,
11 tomorrow.
You got some guy.
Yeah, 11.
Jerusalem Center. Everybody knows Dave Gomez in the Jerusalem Center.
Yeah, and then Sunday evening.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you. I wish I had more time. I'd love to really explore this. And when you come back through, give us a little bit more warning so we can maybe have you for a couple of segments. All right?
We didn't even know you lived.
Well, here we are. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in. Blessings on you.
Bless
Best to
you.
you.
God bless
We'll
you.
be right back.